All right, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Teacher Alejandro. For those who don't know me, I will be teaching today's sessions. Before we get started, I just wanted to ask and make sure if anyone had any questions for me. Maybe we can get started with introducing ourselves and maybe saying one goal that they would want to work on in writing, in reading. And yeah, so as I introduce myself, my name is Teacher Alejandro. Nice to meet you. So we'll start with David. David, if you can just introduce yourself and then say one goal that you have for writing and reading.
My name is David, and one goal is to read faster.
Read faster. Awesome. Thank you. Kevin, please introduce yourself.
My name is Kevin, and one goal would probably be to enjoy reading more.
All right. Awesome. And then Yanfei, can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Yanfei, and my goal is to write better.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay. And those are all things we're going to definitely be doing in our sessions starting from today and so forth. So let's get started with something that I'm not sure if you guys are used to, but definitely you'll be getting to know more in our sessions, which is our new authors, new quotes, new books every week. So with the author and books, maybe this is something that you might find very interesting. So this is our author, Louis Sachar, or Sacker. So let's get started with reading this slide. So David, if you can please read this slide for us. And if you need any help with how to pronounce a word, or if you need to define any word, let me know and I can definitely help you there. All right.
Louis Sachar is an award-winning American author best known for writing Holes. He was born on March 20th, 1954 in East Meadow, New York. He later moved to California. In school, Louis wasn't always a big reader, but in college, he discovered a love for children's books while reading a teacher's aid.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Aid
That's correct.
in elementary school. That experience inspired his first book, Sideways Stories from Wayside School, which became very popular. He often makes humor, mystery, and life lessons in his books, which makes them exciting and meaningful for young readers. Sachar had said he didn't write books with a lesson in mind. He just tries to tell a great story. Holes is his most famous book, with both a Newbery Medal and the National Book Award in 1999. It was even turned into a movie in 2003. Sachar always still writes and lives in Texas with his family. His books are loved for their quirky characters, clever plots, and emotional depth.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David. Thank you again for reading this slide. So now that we got to know the author, let's get to know his book Holes. Now, some of you might not have read the book, but it is quite a famous movie as well. So, can you please actually please raise your hand if you guys have heard of Holes, maybe the book or seen the movie? Or you can say yes if you've heard of the movie or book. No? All right then. No problem at all. Yeah, Kevin, you've heard of the book or the movie? Awesome.
I've read the book.
You read the book. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, before we read the slide, how was your experience reading the book? Did you like it? Tell your peers.
I felt it was a pretty good book.
Yeah? Awesome. So you hear this, everybody? It was a pretty good book. And I agree with Kevin. It is a fun book to read. So let's get to know a little bit more for those who haven't read it. Let's see. Well, Kevin, since you read it, can you please read the slide for us then?
Holes is about a boy named Stanley Yonitz who is sent to a strange place called Camp Green Lake after he's blamed for a crime he didn't commit. At the camp, the boys are forced to dig holes in a dry lake bed every day. The warden says it's to build character, but Stanley starts to think they're digging for something else. He becomes friends with a quiet boy named Zero, who has a secret of his own. As they dig, Stanley uncovers clues about a long-lost treasure and a family curse that began with his great-great-grandfather. The story jumps between the present and the past, showing how history connects Stanley, Zero, and the mysterious outlaw Kissing K. Barlow. Eventually, Stanley and Zero run away and survive in the desert, showing bravery and friendship. Together, they solve the mystery and break the curse. In the end, justice is served, and Stanley's luck finally changes. Holes is a fun, exciting book about friendship, fate, and standing up for what's right.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So yeah, this is our book, Holes. Now, before we move on to a little task that I've prepared for you guys, let's kind of go over what do we expect in essay writing. Now, this can be any type of essay writing. This can be fictional writing, analytical writing, even academic writing. There's always some type of structure. So just so we have a common understanding of how we write an essay, quickly, what I want you guys to do is just explain the structure of a 5-paragraph essay. So you're going to explain the structure of an introduction, body, and conclusion. What goes into a 5-paragraph essay? So really quick, I'm going to give you guys around 5 minutes to do so. Just write what you understand of how to write an essay, okay? And then we will discuss it after. Does anyone have any questions? No? All right. Then 5 minutes starting now, and then we will take it up. 5 to 7 minutes. Oh, and please submit your responses into the chat when you are done. So you guys have one more minute to think about what goes into an essay. And then after that, please submit your responses into the chat. I am going to ask every one of you just to understand your perspective on what goes into an essay. So one more minute. All right, time is up. Please submit what you have. It's okay if you're not completely finished, but as long as you have an idea of what goes into an essay, then that's okay. So since Kevin, I see your response first. Can you please explain to the class, what is your perspective on what goes into an essay?
Well, I think an essay usually starts with an introduction, which introduces what's going to be talked about in the essay.
Yep.
Then there are usually 3 body paragraphs, which just talks about the main topic of the essay.
Mhm.
And finally, there's a conclusion paragraph, which usually summarizes / restates what's in the essay.
Awesome. Yes, great job. All right. Before we discuss in general what goes into an essay, let's hear some more ideas. So David, can you please tell me what goes into an essay?
A hook / introduction.
Mhm.
Tell what you are going to write about. Body, tell reasonings and state your statement. And
Mhm.
then the conclusion, end your story / summarize it.
Perfect. Awesome. So we're a bit of an agreement with a lot of things. Yanfei, can you please tell me what your understanding of goes into an essay?
An essay has a good introduction
Mhm.
and it sets up your argument and tells the reader what to expect.
Absolutely.
And it has a main goal. And the introduction is to catch your reader's attention. And then you can give background on your topic and present thesis statements, and then it has a summary.
Perfect. Awesome. So you guys have covered everything that I'm looking for, which is great. So yes, an introduction is, of course, introducing your topic and argument. Now, there's 2 key things that goes into an introduction. The focus, right? So the focus of your essay is practically your thesis statement. So thesis statement is very, very important when it comes to your introduction. Then what else is good for your introduction is a hook. And that was very cool of you, David, to mention is a hook. What would catch a reader to feel even interested in your topic? And usually a hook goes right in the beginning of your introduction because we want to immediately grab our reader. So a hook is a great. And then Yanfei, I also liked what you said in terms of discussing the main ideas. So at the end of your introduction, after your thesis statement, you have it is optional. It's not required, but usually there is a portion where you talk about the main ideas that you're going to read in your body paragraphs. And then that's where the body paragraphs come in. And Kevin, you got it down where you're discussing your topic and some arguments, whatever that may be. Now, what is good about the body paragraph is that you have to provide some kind of proof, some kind of support, some kind of thing that makes your thesis statement credible, makes your thesis statement be convincing to the reader. And then, of course, your conclusion, as Kevin said, you re-summarize and end your story. And the key thing when it comes to your conclusion is it is, and this is what Kevin said that I really liked. It has already been talked about. You do not, and I repeat, you do not repeat any, you do not introduce any new information. Once you're writing your conclusion, that's it. No more new information. So great job, everybody. So now that we know how to write an essay and we're all in agreement of how to write an essay or even a short story, that is, what I have for you here is inspired by the book Holes. Now you don't have to read. You didn't have to read this book at all. This is completely different from having to know the book, but it is inspired. So what you're going to do is you're going to imagine yourself. You're sent to this mysterious camp in the middle of a desert, which you'll find is very similar to the story Holes. Now, the camp is called Camp Green Lake. And you have to dig a giant hole every day under the hot sun. So again, very similar to the story Holes. But you don't know why you're digging, but you think the adults are hiding something. So one day you find something strange buried in the dirt. So you're going to write a short story around 1 to 2 paragraphs answering these questions. What strange object or clue do you find? What do you think it means? And do you keep it a secret or tell someone? And what do you do next? All right. So because you're not already starting the story completely new, you can start in the middle of a scene. So you don't have to make a huge type of introduction, just very small, and then go into the meat of your story, which is these 4 questions. All right. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes to complete this task. And then once you're finished, then please submit it into the chat when you're done. Now, if you do finish a little early, I always recommend that you read over your work and see what you can find just to like fix maybe any easy to fix mistakes that you might have not seen the first time. All right, so 10 minutes starting now. Does anyone have any questions before we get started actually? No? All right, so then you may get started. 10 minutes starting now. 4 more minutes. And as I mentioned, if you do finish a little early, take this time and opportunity to go over your work, revise what you can, and also expand and play with the vocabulary. If you see something that maybe something simple, see if you can play around with it and try something new, try new vocab that you might have learned in the past. All right, but you have 3 minutes, all right? 3 minutes to submit. All right, 1 more minute. Take this time to finish up your stories, but no rush. Remember, you still have a minute, so complete what you can. I'm just going to stop sharing and get a document prepared. What I like to do is just edit on a document. So then we can all see the edits together. Here we are. So, David, I see that you submitted first. So I'm going to copy and paste your work here.
I'm editing it right now.
Oh, you're editing? Okay, perfect. Then I'll just leave it for now. Yep, you still have 1 more minute. So I'll check in once the minute is up. All right, time is up. Please start submitting what you have. Start finishing up what you're editing. And then I am going to get started with the edits. So David, is it okay if I start editing yours?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So David will start editing your story first, and then Kevin Yanfei will edit yours next. All right. So David, he said, while at a camp, we were told to dig holes for a golf game, but we decided to dig even further and found a hard orangey thing popping out. Okay, so first thing I want to address is that when you're saying while at a camp, you're making it sound like you don't know the camp, because we know exactly which camp we're at, right? We're at Camp Greenwich, I believe it's called, Green Lake. So we don't need the we can just say while at camp, and then we're going to put a comma. The reason why we put a comma is because whenever we are mentioning time or a setting, we usually put a comma after, especially in the beginning of a sentence. So we were told to dig holes for a golf game, but so here we don't need we need the comma here and not after. But we decided to dig even further and found a hard orangey thingy pop out. Okay, so here, just to fix up this part here, you're going to say we found a hard orange thing popping out. I had no clue, or we had no clue what it was. Just to emphasize that you're not sure what it is. It's out. It was only part of it, so we dug I would take this out and say part of it was still underground. So we dug further and eventually we got it out. It was a lemon-shaped rock. We're going to put a dash here with an orange layer. We watched it for 1 minute until it started to shake. Okay, so just careful with the spelling. And also, whenever we're writing fictional stories, whenever we mention any type of numbers, it's better, especially single digits, it's better to write it as is like this, 1 minute. All right. Until it started to shake. We thought it was an egg. We're gonna put a comma here. But it did not crack. We thought it meant, so just careful with spelling. Good luck. So we kept it and shared it with everyone. This is one word. And we're gonna put a comma here. We left it there until we left and threw it in the woods. So you left the egg where before you threw it in the woods, David?
Like on a table in the middle of the camp.
Okay, so yeah, well, let's specify that. So instead of saying we left it there, we can say we left it on a table in the middle of camp for everyone to see until we left and threw it in the woods. All right, awesome. So here, David, the majority of the story for the editing portion was just fixing up the wording here and there. But other than that, it was very well structured, cool little twist in the end, very interesting. Yeah, any questions regarding the feedback I just gave you right now?
No.
Nope. Okay, so let's see. So far I only have David's story. So Kevin, how are we doing? Are we almost done?
Yep.
Okay, and Yanfei? Okay, awesome. All right, so Kevin, you started with, where is this? I say to myself, as I got off, so it's 2 F's here. As I got off the bus to Camp Green Lake, we're gonna put a comma instead of a period. Oh, you know what? We're gonna put a period here, and then we're gonna put a comma here.
Wait, can I just re-edit my paragraph?
Sure, that's no problem. But because of timing, Kevin, I'll just edit what I can here, and then for the next time, you can leave some time for self-editing, all right?
Okay.
But no problem at all. All right, I got sent there because I'm a troublesome kid. We're gonna put a comma here. And my parents needed to send me here so that they could go to a business meeting in Paris. It's only for a few weeks. We're gonna put a comma here, but I'm feeling like it's going to be a lot longer than that. We don't need it's time past in storytelling even. We can just take this out. So we can just say it's been a week here at camp, and then we're gonna put a comma here. And things have been slightly we're gonna put a comma here. No, really weird. All we do, and then Kevin, I always recommend, if you want to say like really cool or really weird or really challenging, whenever you want to find a word that's more expressive than that word, what I always recommend is doing a quick little Google search and find synonyms of weird. And then whatever synonyms you may find, you can find maybe a stronger replacement.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put this here. Just so we avoid saying really, because we can always find something better than just really weird. All we do is dig holes every day. But just yesterday, I found a really weird mark in the dirt that looked like a bag of money. Well, today I decided to dig my hole here. We need a comma. And I found something really weird. So because we're seeing really weird repetitively, change it up. It's okay to say really weird maybe once, but then saying it again and again makes it repetitive. So I would recommend you finding different words. Okay. I reported to the person in charge of camp, the warden. She was super happy, but all she said to me was, we don't need the colon, just a comma is sufficient enough. Good job, Lucas. Take the rest of the day off. Well, that got me curious. We need a comma here. And we need a comma here. And I asked my friend Davis if this had ever happened at camp before, but he said that nothing like that had ever happened. We don't need this. It's been a few days after the event, and we need a comma here. And nothing has changed. What was that? Awesome. Okay, so here, Kevin, majority of the edits that I have here are just taking out a few little things and mostly comma placements, and then just switching up certain words just to make sure that nothing is really repetitive. All right. Any questions?
No.
All right, thank you so much, Kevin. Okay, so we are gonna have to move on. So I'm gonna stop sharing. Yanfei, if you want to finish later and send it to me closer to the end of class, you can definitely do so. But we will have to move on now. So let's do a quote of the day. Let's see. Yanfei, if you don't mind reading this quote for us. No? Okay, so David, if you don't mind reading this quote for us.
Little minds are tamed and subdued by misfortune, but great minds rise above them.
Mhm. All right, so before we discuss a little bit more about this quote, let's read the definition of subdued. So Kevin, can you read the definition of subdued that you see here on the left?
Subdued. Verb. Bring under control. Right about time you were subdued by misfortune and time you rose above it.
Awesome. So that's a little task that we'll do after, but let's discuss a little bit about this quote. So David, when you read this quote, what kind of ideas or understandings did you get from this quote? When we say little minds are tamed and subdued by misfortune, what does that mean?
Minds are under control by misfortune.
And they use the term little minds. What are little minds? Someone who has a little mind, what could that mean?
Toddlers or babies.
Toddlers or babies is one, maybe, for sure. Kevin, what is some ideas of what little minds could be?
Maybe children, people who are young.
People who are young, sure, for sure. Yenfei, any ideas of what little minds might be?
People that are young and their minds are not very clever.
Yeah, absolutely. Not very clever. So you're all correct. It could be age related or it could be education, right? People who maybe are not that smart or maybe who are ignorant. So these little minds are tamed and subdued. So people who are either young or not clever or as you all have mentioned, can be tamed and subdued by misfortune, meaning that they kind of get some bad luck, or they can be easily controlled by bad things. So when we say great minds rise above them, what is the author of this quote trying to say here? Yanfei?
Like young people are brings under control.
Absolutely. And then what are great minds? When we say great minds rise above them, what could that mean? That part.
Maybe it's like people that are bigger than them.
Yeah, it could be age related, right? Their mind is more developed. Or it can mean maybe some people who are smarter, right? And not just book smart. It could be socially smart. It could be someone who's clever, who are good at things, So when we say these great minds rise above them, it's people who really think, right? They think about a lot of things. And then so they rise above this misfortune. So they get out of these bad times. So this is kind of what the quote is saying, that people with little minds who are either maybe super young, but young people can be very smart as well too. So I would say more so people who are ignorant or not just, or doesn't like to think about good things are tamed, right? They're easily controllable. But people who challenge and think and go beyond that rise, right? They have good energy, they have good results. All right. So because of time, we're gonna skip this task today, but this is the idea of this quote. So great discussion, everybody. Thank you. Now let's understand who this author is. So, Kevin, can you please read the first paragraph for us?
Washington Irving, April 3rd, 1783 to November 28th, 1859, was an American short story writer, essayist, biographer, historian, and diplomat, noun, an official representing a country abroad. Of the early 19th century, he is best known for short stories Rip Van Winkle, 1819, and The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, 1820, both of which appear in his collection, The Sketchbook of Geoffrey Crayon Ghent. His historical works include biographies of Oliver Goldsmith, Muhammad and George Washington, as well as several histories of 15th century Spain that deal with subjects such as Alhambra, Christopher Columbus, and the Moors. Irving served as American ambassador now as an accredited diplomat sent to the country as its official representative to Spain into the 1840s.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin. And then, David, if you don't mind reading the second paragraph for us.
Irving was one of the first American writers to earn acclaim in Europe, and he encouraged other American authors such as Nathaniel Hawthorne, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, Herman Melville, and Edgar Allan Poe. He was also admired by some British writers, including Lord Byron, Thomas Campbell, and Charles Dickens, Mary Shelley, Francis Jeffrey, and Walter Scott. He advocated for writing as a legitimate profession and argued for stronger laws to protect American writers from copyright infringement. Noun, using copyrighted work without permission.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David. And the two terms that should be pronounced, he advocated and then legitimate. So advocated means someone who kind of speaks in support for someone. For example, I advocate for having free pizza every day. I support this idea. And then legitimate means official, recognize, something that's that no one can say that is fake. All right. So yeah, great. Thank you for everyone who read. So let's now do a little reading task. So this reading task, what we're going to do is we're going to read this story here and then answer some multiple choice. We're going to take up the multiple choice at the end, but in terms of the answer key, but I'm going to ask each and every one of you to answer one question and say why you chose that answer, and then we'll take it up at the end. Okay, so we're going to start first reading this passage. So for the first paragraph, Yanfei, can you please read the first paragraph for us of this story on the left? Sorry, Yanfei, can you please read the first paragraph for us, if you don't mind? No? All right then. So then, well, David, can you please read the first paragraph for us?
Elena had never been to the top of her grandmother's house. Not really. There was a narrow staircase behind a bookshelf in the upstairs hallway that led to the tower room. As Grandma called it, "Don't go poking around up there," Grandma had warned with a wink. Too many memories.
All right, thank you so much. And then Kevin, can you please read the second paragraph for us?
But Elena was curious. On the third day of her visit, when the summer rain kept her inside, she slipped behind the bookshelf and crept up the dusty stairs. The air grew cooler the higher she climbed. At the top was a heavy wooden door with a tarnished brass handle. She opened it slowly, half expecting bats or cobwebs to fly at her face.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then Yanfei, if you're here, can you please read the third paragraph for us?
Instead, she found a circular room full of sunlight. Tall windows surrounded her. In the middle stood a writing desk and a velvet chair. The walls were lined with journals, old maps, and faded photographs. On the desk sat a globe with a strange symbol carved into it. She turned it slowly. Her fingers traced countries she'd never heard of. Something about the room felt alive, as if it has been waiting. Then she heard the door creak behind her. Elena froze.
Thank you so much. So if you guys can please answer questions 1 through 5, and then we're going to take it out together. All right. I'll give you guys 5 minutes to do so, and then we'll start discussing our answers. So 5 minutes starting now. And if anyone has any questions, by the way, please let me know. I can definitely help you in any way I can. And also, if you're not sure about an answer, it's okay to guess. The one thing and one rule about multiple choice is never leave an answer blank. You have a 1 in quarter chance. So yeah. Okay, so 5 minutes starting now, and then please complete the multiple choice. And then please submit it privately into the chat when you're done. Two more minutes. All right, time is up. Please submit your responses. It's okay if you're not completely finished, but we are going to now discuss which one we got. So for number 1, what is the setting of this passage? Yanfei, can you please tell me what you answered for number 1 and why? What did you get for number 1, Yanfei? You can find a clue in the first paragraph.
A.
Close. It was up in the top of the house, like an attic, but it wasn't in the school. It was B. Or it might be B. We'll take it up in the end. I apologize. Okay, number 2. Which detail best shows Alina's curiosity? Kevin?
C.
Mhm.
Because exploring the staircase behind the bookshelf, even though her grandma doesn't tell her, shows that she's curious because she wants to explore things.
Interesting.
To further at it, the other ones don't really show it. The other answer choices.
Fair. All right, number 3. David, what did you say and why?
I said D because it said too many memories, and she found like a lot of old stuff.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, David. Number 4. What was the mood as Alina enters the tower room? What did you think, Yanfei? What would you say? A, B, C, or D? Was Elena angry and frustrated, joyful and playful, mysterious and magical, or sad and hopeless? What do you think, Yanfei? Not sure? Okay, we'll ask Kevin. Kevin, what do you think for number 4?
Probably number C.
Mysterious and magical. Interesting. Okay, we'll see. We'll take up the answers at the end. All right, and number 5, David, what did you say?
I said D.
D. Startled. Awesome. All right, so there is 5 more multiple choice, and then we're going to take it up all together, the answer key. So please answer questions 6 through 10, and then we'll take it up and discuss why we said each thing. All right. So again, I'm going to give you guys around 4 to 5 minutes. You may get started. 2 more minutes. All right, time is up. Please submit your responses if you have not done so already. And I mentioned it's okay if you're not completely finished, but we are going to take it up now. So for number 6, what does the author suggest by saying the room felt alive? Let's see. Kevin.
C.
This room had energy and secrets of its own. And then for number 7, what might the globe with the strange symbol represent? David?
B.
B, a clue to a hidden story or mystery. And what made you think B?
Because of the whole
Mm.
symbol.
Yep. Number 8, what does the author mean by her fingers tracing countries she'd never heard of? Yanfei, any ideas for number 8? Would you say it would be A, B, C, or D? What do we think? Not sure. All right, then Kevin, what would we say?
B.
And why would you say B?
Well, it states it's already broken, and I think it already states in the text it's broken. And since it's broken, some of the countries might be a little disoriented.
All right. And then number 9, which of the following best expresses the central idea of the passage or the story? David?
B.
B. And why would you say B?
Because she was curious and she went on an adventure.
Awesome. And the number 10, which evidence, so out of these 4 quotes that you see here, supports the idea that the room holds secrets? What do we think, Yanfei? For number 10. Would you say A, B, C, or D? Sorry, Yanfei, I'm not sure. I know your mic was off, but I'm not sure if you said the answer. But would you say it's A, B, C, or D? For some reason, I can't hear your mic, Yanfei, so maybe if type it into the chat of what you think it might be. No, unfortunately, I can't hear your mic. That's okay. Then Kevin, if you can say number 10.
D.
D. All right. And what do you think, D?
Well, this just feels. It just gives it. It's like a really mysterious. I think it kind of relates because. But if an environment might feel a little weird / mysterious, usually it's holding secrets.
The wording of it gives this kind of idea. Yeah. All right. So let's go over the answer key. So 1 is B, 2 is C, 3 is D, 4 is C. All right. 5 is D, 6 is C, 7 is B, 8 is A, 9 is B, and 10 is D. Awesome. So there's some explanations here for you guys. If you want to go through it on your own time, you can definitely do that. Now let's do a little writing a task. So the question is asking, what do you think Elena will do next after hearing the door creak? So you're going to write a quick little paragraph explaining what might happen. And so you're going to use text evidence to support your prediction. So this is our essay. This is not storytelling. This is an essay where you're going to write your prediction and say why. So we need an intro, body, and conclusion. So be sure to include, maybe talk about Elena's personality traits of why she would do the next thing, clues from the passage. So include some quotes from the text, and be a little creative and of course realistic, but see what kind of creative things she might do next in the story. So I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes to complete, and then we will move on. Does anyone have any questions? No? All right, so you may get started. As I mentioned, it doesn't have to be long at all. Maybe around just 5 sentences is enough. Talking about these 3 things. All right. So 10 minutes starting now. So you have 3 more minutes and just wanted to check in that everything's going well. David, all good?
Yeah.
Awesome. Kevin, any questions? All good?
I'm good.
Awesome. And then Yenfei, any questions? Are we okay? Are we good? Yep. Okay, awesome. So, and just one thing, Yenfei, it's no stress about it right now, but maybe just for the next class, your mic is muted for some reason, even when you unmute. I'm not able to hear you. So just letting you know for the next time. All right. We're almost done class, so no need to stress about it now, but just know that for the next class. Okay, so 3 minutes. All right, time is up. Please submit your responses. We are going to move on. Please take the next couple of seconds just to submit your responses. It's okay if you're not completely finished, but at least finish your sentence. And then we'll edit it at the end. I do want to cover one section before we end today's session. Okay, so we are going to move on to our grammar section. So every week, I just want to introduce little grammar concepts that's, that we might want to kind of focus on, understand and do. So here, we have this concept called subject-verb agreement. So what is it? Subject-verb agreement just means that the verb in a sentence must match the subject in number. So a singular subject equals a singular verb. A plural subject equals a plural verb. So for example, she walks to school. So a singular subject, a singular verb. Now, they walk to school equals a plural subject, plural verb. So the list of chores is long. So list is a subject, not chores. So we have to understand that in this case, the list is the subject and not chores. So compound sentence joined by and are usually plural. So for example, Sam and Maya are best friends. Each of the students was prepared. Subjects joined by or nor match the subject. So either the cat or dogs are outside. Either the dogs or the cat is outside. And then when we say does or do, we say he does his homework every night and they do their homework every night. So then we have indefinite pronouns like just everyone, nobody, and each. So everyone is here. So see how we would use is. And then each of the students was prepared. So to get a little practice of subject-verb agreement, even if you might find a little confusion, let's do a little practice. So neither the CEO nor the board members, and then we're going to choose has or have agreed on the final budget. So I have a multiple choice of 1 through 10, and you're going to choose either the two options that you see here, and then we'll take it up. So in 5 minutes, please complete questions 1 through 10, and then we are going to take it up. Two more minutes. All right, so we are going to go over the answer key. So here, the first one is have. Number 2 is. Are is number 3. Number 4 is come. Number 5 is was. Number 6 was has. Number 7 was have. Number 8 was. Number 9 was seem. And number 10 was is. So there's explanations here that you can go over on your own time just to kind of go over why each one it is what it is. But of course, if you have any questions, please let me know for next class and we can definitely take it up and dive in a little deeper for any questions that you may have here. All right, so what we're going to do now is, go over the homework real quick before I do some quick edits. So what I want you to do is just write a general fictional twisted story. So for example, I want you to write a story about anything you like, but there's a twist to it. Because we've done a lot of story writing today, play around with that, what we have learned today, and provide a twist to the story, okay? And it'll be due next week on the forum. Does anyone have any questions regarding that?
No.
Nope. David,
No.
any questions? No? Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to put your responses from the last task into the document. Okay. And then David. Okay, so David, one thing I would say is never start saying I think. If you're gonna give a position on something, be firm and strong on what your opinion is. Even though it is your opinion, you want to sound convincing to a reader. So you could just say Elena would check who it was. Or you can say in the next scene, Elena would check who it was. If no one was there, she would go to where that sound was because she was already curious once, so she would still have been curious. I would take out this last part. You already mentioned that she's a curious person, so she would go again because she was already curious. If she still saw no one, this should be if she still comma. She would probably run because of the warnings, and she froze. I would take out this part and just say she would have run because of the warnings. Period. Awesome. Any questions regarding the feedback I just gave you right here?
No.
All right, Kevin, real quick, you said in the passage about Elena that I've read, it ends with the cliffhanger. Then she heard, awesome, great use of text evidence. I wonder what happened after that moment. And in this essay, I'll tell you about my thoughts. I would take out this part. No need for this. You can just say my initial idea was that she would run and hide next in the next scene. Since she probably already knew that this place was mysterious, we're going to put a comma here. She could have gotten really scared and hide. But another idea that I have is that she just froze. I would say stick to one idea and then just say that. So in conclusion, I think that Elena would hide. And then I would expand, I would summarize her personality maybe here. All right, and then that's it. Any questions regarding the feedback I just gave you right now?
Nope.
All right, so that concludes our session for today. Thank you, everyone. I